I'm about to take my toke off the joint.
We are back. We are back. We are back again for the 16th recording of the actual intro of the 710. We keeping it raw here, folks. We've already done the entire intro. We're almost 3 days past the actual show, and we're here to do it again. So, again, welcome back to another toke of the joint. This is the third toke. We've got an amazing show for you tonight. We're going to do the regular preamble. We're going to go through the 710 topics. We want to give a big shout out to all the new brands we have up on the wall of fame. Shout out to Gage who sent me out this amazing hoodie, this amazing water bottle, the rolling tray, the rollies. Missiku out in the Northern Atlantic who sent me the hat. They sent me a hoodie I'll wear in a future episode. Oxley sent me stuff. Hexo sent me stuff.
Who's the little Afro guy? Who's the Afro guy?
The Afro guy is an actual Indian spice restaurant in my local town. It was like, hey, put a sticker up on the wall. The guy actually watches the podcast. And again, big shout out to Andrew from Neighborhood Joints. Support your local dispensaries. Andrew is out in Beaches. We'll transition right into the 710 topics, and we'll fire it off with this one, which is big news from the AGCO today, who ramped up their weekly store openings from 20 to 30, which means they'll be going from 80 to 120 every month. Really big news for the Ontario footprint, going from about 420 stores to roughly about 600 over the next month and a half. We'll continue the topics of the last 2 weeks. So again, what we try and do with these 710 topics is go over the past 2 weeks in the cannabis space, some stuff that was making news, some stuff that we find interesting, and help you guys talk about some current events. All the links to the stories that we talk about in the 710 will be posted in the description under the episode. StratCan announced, I believe, a week or two ago that we should definitely expect to see closures of cannabis facilities in 2020-21. We all know how last year ended. I believe November and December marked some of the biggest closures in our space since the inception of the MMPR/ACMPR, with the numerous big greenhouses closing. Aurora, Canopy shut down massive greenhouses, the biggest one probably in Alberta, which was 250 million. And something else that we need to take notice of is that with every closure, those are jobs that are being lost. So I know it's all great for us to pound our chests and say, hey, this is what our industry did in a year. It's also maybe helpful to acknowledge the people that lost their jobs. So again, closures to continue. It's been a crazy couple of weeks, the last 2 weeks with Wall Street Bets, AMC, GME, Sundial was caught up in the Reddit stocks, and really over the last week and a half, probably the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right up until the bank holiday in the States and Family Day, stocks were going through the roof, crazy volatile. I know one of my dear friends, Norton, his stock I think doubled in those 2 days. So again, something to remember, play with the money that you're expecting to lose because everything changes in the fleet of an eye. Expect more volatility to continue through pot stocks as we go through the year. Something else that was talked about, I believe it was DGC, David George Kosh from BNN. Canopy came out with their quarterly, not revenue because it's quarterly losses. Canopy books $820 million in loss during the Q3. So again, it was reported $829.3 million in the 3 months ending December 31st, roughly half of which was due to impairment charges related to the closure of several production facilities last year. So again, massive write-downs for big pubcos. Something else that really was amazing news and something that we can see more and more coming to fruition in this space, which is big pharmaceutical companies purchasing cannabis companies that maybe have a pharmaceutical model. I'm obviously referring to Jazz Pharmaceuticals buying GW Pharmaceuticals for $7.2 billion. I'm not sure that we need to go over any type of details in that. It's a hell of a lot of money. It's a hell of a lot of stocks. So again, congratulations to those two companies who are coming together on a merger. Another topic that we want to talk about, I think, is that for the first time, you have legal recreational sales outpacing the illicit market. So that is something that you really want to keep an eye on, as it seems like the federal government is doing what they attempted to do with the outset of legalization, which is take it away from the hands of the black market. So again, sales continue to increase. We want to also open the doors for the province of Ontario as the lockdowns ease, and everyone except, I think, for the Toronto and Peel region are open for in-store shopping with limited capacity. Big shout out to all the dispensaries that are out on the outlying areas. Make sure to tip your bud tenders when you're going into the store. I also want to call attention, this is our first big giveaway. Sundial sent us a great care package, which consists of a number of different items, one of them being a palmetto black hoodie, which I was wearing today during calls, Superfly hoodie. There's some top leaf gear in there. One of those is a stash bag, which is really, really interesting. Some lighters, some pins. So what we want to do is we'll give those away to whoever watches this episode, which is going to be airing on a Friday. So you want to click like and subscribe, and then we'll do a random draw, and we'll pay for the shipping and ship that box out to you. And I think with that, we'll wrap up the 710 topics. Again, we got a really amazing show for you here today. What we're trying to do is bring you people that are pioneers, people that carve a way for other people to follow. And that guest, that person is someone that we have here tonight. He is what I call a serial entrepreneur. I know he's going to hate being called that. He's more of a savage entrepreneur. He is someone that built up a reputation in the music industry. He is someone that built up his reputation in the early days of California cannabis industry. He founded one of the big agencies based out of Los Angeles called Green Street Agency. I was first introduced to Rama Mayo when I was shipped out to California fully willingly in January of 2018. We were brought out there to help the state get ready for legalization. I was working out there for CCI, helping to work with a bunch of brands. And I remember somebody posting about this Green Street Agency on social media, and I reached out to a few people to see if they can make an intro. And I remember, I think it was Greg from Materia who said, yeah, I know Rama and I can make an intro. And it started off with a short, cold email, which then, true to my form, persistent pestering and can we have a meeting and can we sit down? And I ended up getting a meeting with Rama and understanding why he was being surrounded by massive hip hop artists, massive celebrities, massive people in the marketing world. So one of the things that I saw from Rama was that he was again, being surrounded by amazing people, and it's something that I wanted to attach myself to. So quickly befriended him, started frequenting the Green Street offices for all their events, for their magic hour, and then was there for when he launched hallofflowers, which quickly turned into the #1 trade show, not only in California, but arguably in North America. So really excited to bring on Rama to talk about his experiences in the cannabis space. Rama, welcome to the show. I was telling people before that I made a hell of an intro to you as a serial savage entrepreneur who's been through the music industry and been through the inception and the tip of the spear of cannabis, not only in California, but in some other big states. And we're not really in the tip of the spear yet or in the inception. Some people say that the best brands aren't even on the shelves yet. So, I was also referring to it was a very significant time over the last year. We've all been facing challenges, and thank God that cannabis has been an essential service globally. But we're kind of coming up on the anniversary where, for at least me, the pandemic was made real, because it was March of last year that you had announced that you were canceling the hallofflowers offering. So, yeah, again, really happy that you're here and joining us, and love to know sort of what the last year has meant to you as we get ready.
Yeah, thanks, bud. So, serial entrepreneur, I appreciate it, but I would never call myself that. I would say I just like to help people, and artists and stuff like that. You were saying before we started recording that, you looked at me like the cannabis Jesus, and I know you're just joking a little bit, but my name is Rama, which is a god from, the Hare Krishna religion, like protector of Krishna, if you will. So maybe that's like what I'm supposed to do here, like protector of this cannabis stuff, and I don't know. This is the first time I'm ever saying that, but I do love the plant and everything. And the last year has been, it sounds weird to say, but it's been incredible. But I feel like guilty saying that because so many people are fucked up right now. So, cannabis was essential. Cannabis is recession proof. The other stuff that I'm in on, like the real estate side of the business, is cannabis, but it's real estate. Real estate was essential, so, we really lucked out or were fortunate, I guess I'll say, for like the industries we were working in not to be totally shut down. And then at the same time, it's probably one of the best things that has happened to cannabis because so many of the fakers and entrepreneurs and fake media companies and whatever are now like out of business because they're not really doing business, and I think that cleared a lot of the stale air or the noise out of the cannabis space. Temporarily, of course, the fact that it's recession proof, now you're going to see a whole new wave of money and dickheads coming into the space, kind of thing. And they'll probably come in through the public markets because how else do you kind of get in at the moment, really? Like if you're just some dude from, middle America or kind of whatever, or anyone, I guess, just that doesn't have a cannabis connection or something. But, so the past year has been like awesome. Right before pandemic happened, the Green Street decided to focus and triple down on our IP and our brand building and really not have too many clients. And that was awesome. And so I was kind of really prepared for the pandemic to hit because I really got rid of most of the staff and I got rid of the office space and I scaled down right kind of before that started happening because we were running the agency side of the business and it was really successful. We were making millions of dollars a year, but we were, spending millions of dollars a year to do that. And I kind of felt like it was treading water for me. And right. I want to be on the creative side. And if our goal was to have like a giant ad agency, then that's what you have to do. But Gary has a giant ad agency. I don't need to build one. We want to build IP and stuff that we own. So the past year, I kind of look at it like I was tuning up all the cars in the garage. I was like taking the time off, but going in and working and doing, working even more than ever, but, just focused on myself, doing my Mr. Miyagi backyard stuff kind of, or whatever. Right. And
right. Preparing.
Yeah. Preparing. That's exactly right. So I partnered up with a handful of people. I did a few deals. I partnered with a company called Show Labs that on a brand called Vacation that I created, and I brought them in as a manufacturing distribution kind of co-owner. I've been mostly creating IP forever and licensing it to people, and it's good, but they don't have a dog in the race kind of thing at that point that much. So this one is true ownership, and it's already going a lot better than previous ones. So that's exciting. And I did another deal with a guy named Jamie Feaster. Jamie Feaster was the co-founder of Ease. Obviously huge deal. He smells like rich mahogany kind of guy. And I've known him for 10 years or 12 years, maybe 12 years way before Ease, I've known him. And I've been begging him to come join forces together with me. Like he's a better version of me. Like I'm sure both of you guys are always like, if I had a cloning machine, I'd be unstoppable. This is like if I had a cloning machine, but instead of coming out like a photocopy, it came out like a better, like a laser print. It came out like better than I am,
3D. Yeah.
So 3D, dude, like it's unbelievable. And so Jamie's just a super boss. And what I mean by that specifically is I have tons of experience in the space, but really more from like in the trenches a little bit more and less on the tech business money side of it. And Jamie has the same experience, but he has a lot of the tech money side of it. So
an amazing compliment to you.
Have. Yeah, so it's perfect. I always say like he's the suit and tie version of me or something,
Mm-hmm.
And but these are two deals that I wouldn't have been able to do if pandemic was happening. And then we obviously are getting ready for Hallofflowers. I have 2 other projects that I haven't announced yet that are major projects that I raised money for, but I wouldn't have been able to do any of the fundraising or the brand building or the projects or the exercises if I was chasing client stuff and running that business. So yeah, man, I'm super excited. And then to get like my creativity out, I've been painting like an incredible amount.
So
I
I
always
wanted
make,
to. I wanted
go ahead, yeah,
to I wanted to
please.
touch on two things that you said in the last one. So when you said taking some time off, I want to ask you: is that shoes off time off, or
Mm,
is that like
yeah,
in the middle?
I
I
think
was
I
telling
went.
Mateo,
I think I
one of
went
your
3 weeks. I think I
yeah,
went 3 weeks with no shoes on so
no
far.
shoes, which
Yeah,
is
yeah. So
your
yeah.
definition of a vacation, right? Or
Yeah, like
time.
literally, like yeah. That's yeah. So I have this place here in Palm Springs that I rented from a friend, and when I first moved here, now I'm like walking around the block and going. There's a park over here, but that's the only time I put shoes on. I put shoes on only once a day, and it's to go to exercise. And if I didn't have to wear shoes to go to the park, I wouldn't do it. But yeah, that's right. It's you know it's something where I'm a workaholic, right? Honestly, and it's to the point where um, I, I can't stop, and I'm like I'm obsessed with it. Honestly, I'm obsessed with it. So I
But
know
it's
you.
fueled by passion, right? It's
Yeah, I love it. I fucking
yeah.
love it. Like when like this morning when I jumped in for the first emails, I get the overwhelming, exciting feeling like
Yep.
it's like a hormone going through
Bursting
my
through
body,
you. Yeah.
and I'm like, I can't believe how pumped I am to check my emails to do work. You know what I mean? And most people think about work, and it's the last thing they want to do. And it's like I don't want to say I'm sick, but I'm just really fortunate, maybe, to do this. But yeah, I mean, but I've owned my business my whole life. I never made a resume before. I've always owned my own business. I worked for other people here and there, but like in high school and stuff, and then whatever. But yeah, I started a business in high school, and I've been self-employed. I've had employees in high school and since then. So
And you call yourself not a serial entrepreneur. But back to
I think serial. I just don't know any
okay,
serial
so
entrepreneurs that do that.
really good
You know.
operator, businessman.
Yeah, I no, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I just want to. I don't know. I'm not sure what it is. I mean, serial entrepreneur just sounds so cheesy.
Okay.
My mentor, Chef Gordon. You know Chef Gordon,
Professional doer.
professional dude. Exactly. Yeah. Like I
Right.
normally say, I do that. Like I do this for when someone's like, "What do you do?" and I'm like, "For money," or like for everything
Yeah, it's
else.
like hard to
You know what I mean?
pinpoint.
That kind of thing, right? So and now I'm just getting better at blending those two things together. Which is obviously like everyone's dream. But I have a mentor named Shep Gordon, Supermensch, incredible music manager, creator of the
Is he
Celebrity
in
Chef.
Maui?
Yeah, he's in Maui. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I stayed at that house over there, which is ridiculous, and I'm so fortunate, so fortunate to get to experience these things. And when I was over there last time, it was last December, not a few months ago, but a year ago, and he was on a call. He's doing some podcast about entrepreneurship, and he said, I'm on like some interpreter podcast, and I was like, what? And he's like, that and I'm like, entrepreneur. He's like, yeah, I've never been able to say that word. And I thought that was so profound that, like, arguably the biggest serial entrepreneur of all time, one of the ever, doesn't even know how to say the word. So I could never spell it for sure, and I've never said it. I've never called myself that. But now when I hear people say it, it just like I'm like, ooh, are you really a serial entrepreneur? Like, and again, I made a list of all the companies I've started. I think it's like 40 companies, that I've started, right? And then how many are successful? Not that many out of it, but like I love winning so much. I'll get punched in the face 100 times in order to just get one little taste of a win.
Right.
So yeah. So someone would call me that word, the entrepreneur.
Right.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, certainly not me. But anyway, blah blah blah.
So I did more research on you, and I watched a couple of good interviews and your love for art and this rumored Hulk Hogan painting.
Yeah, I had to take Hulk down because of he said he dropped an N-bomb, which is
Oh,
gross.
sure.
And like even though he's like my hero, I feel like right now is the time. It's like too sensitive a time to promote Hulk. But I mean, I grew up on wrestling. I went to go see, Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. This hand touched Andre the Giant's hand. You know what I mean? As a kid,
Yeah.
and so I grew up on that. And yeah, and the painting thing, I love art. I've had a camera all my life, video and photo. I've taken tens of thousands of photos, I've had those photos published in magazines from when I was 15 till even now, but I'm surrounded by like all these artists that are even better. So to me, and I grew up doing music, so to me it would be like whoever's the best at playing guitar should play guitar. Whoever's the best at singing should sing, And even though I can play guitar and I can sing, not really, I could do the art a little bit, it's like I still shouldn't do the art because all my friends are like very famous artists. I have friends that are millionaires. Like Jen bought a house off her art. This guy here, these paintings are 200,000 each, and he sells them. He can't even keep them in stock. So how do I say like I'm an artist when like my friends are like selling in museums? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's a hard thing.
So it's more of a passion project. It's something that helps ground you. I was telling Mateo the first time that I think I really hung out with you was at that giant mass meditation at the there was an art gallery or something like that you had invited me to. You're like, come down, there's a meditation yeah.
Oh, you went to the museum? Yeah, the Geffen. Yeah, Bert Rodriguez did it. Yeah, Bert his stuff's in the other room, but Bert's an amazing artist, friend of mine, and so that's the thing is like, so perfect example. So I was like kind of like advising Bert, not manager, but kind of like managerial roles, supporting Bert, we'll say, right? And like we're doing stuff at the Mocha, so like I made a commercial for the Mocha Museum for him, like, so like it's hard to feel like I can be in that level, right? Now what happened though is two things. One, I've always said I'm gonna have my Jeff Koons moment. Do you know who Jeff Koons is? He's an artist. He
Balloon Dog.
Balloon Dog guy, right? Yeah. So most successful living artist in the world.
Shit,
okay?
Yes.
And he was a stockbroker turned artist. There's a movie called The Price of Everything documentary. It's unbelievable. Write it down for sure. And it's like the juxtaposition of two artists, Larry Poons and Jeff Koons. But yeah, Price of Everything. I think it's on HBO. And they came from the same world, essentially. But I always joke that I'm going to have my Jeff Koons moment. And what I mean by that is I'm going to just make art one day and sell it for $200,000 the same way my friends do, or whatever it is, whatever the price is, 10 grand, who cares, whatever, something more than the price of the paper it's worth on, right? And so I've always made that joke. And over the pandemic, I was like, well, let's start. I needed to get it out. I needed the energy to get out of here. I needed creative juices because I'm used to creating new shit. But like I said before, I went back into the garage, so I wasn't building a new car. I was tuning up the existing stuff. So it's not as exciting for me, right? It's cool. It's like doing sit-ups. I'm not interested in doing, kind of thing, right? But I know if I do it right, I'll have the abs. But I just don't want to do it, So I start painting, and I put a couple online. And I was fucking shocked at the reaction I got by like my friends that are famous artists. They were so into it, so supporting, commenting, liking, texting me like, dude, these are amazing. And that was really a weird thing, because I'm so used to being like behind the scenes person or not the artist itself, but like the composer of it, So it's
more of acceptance of your peers that you look up to saying, hey, you're pretty fucking good.
Yeah. And I was like shocked that they were doing this. And and it gave me a lot of confidence. Now, if the pandemic just kept going and businesses just ceased, I would become a painter. But, now I have a studio sitting around, I have a whole studio dedicated, and I've made, I did 50 paintings in maybe 40 days.
Wow.
So I'm waking up at 6 a.m, 7 a.m, going for like a 4-mile little walk, coming back and painting for a couple hours. And I'm also obsessed with Picasso. And like these guys would do stuff a lot of times in one sitting, Van Gogh, these guys would do stuff in one solid movement. So I was like, okay, that's a cool way to look at it. So I would paint a painting a day or sometimes two. And these are big paintings. These aren't like little things. I'm painting like a 4-foot painting or bigger. I got some rolls of canvases, and I'm just painting and painting and painting and painting and painting, and doing it for a few hours. And then now that work is kind of like creeping back in, I'm now like painting every 2 weeks. I do something. It's totally changed. You know what I mean?
Right.
I was doing yoga, stretching, meditation, painting every day, and now I'm just like back to just being like workaholic.
Like, fuck, I got a show to prep for.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but you know, I'm in this crazy once in a lifetime opportunity where I am at.
I
right?
think
like
building on what Mike said when he kind of came out of the gate and said like you're an artist. I think another like important way to look at it is as being just a creative. You know, like you can look at any situation and think of it in a creative way. Be it from like how to create an Excel sheet, you could do that creatively. You know, there's so many how to organize people together for an event. You can do that creatively, and you can.
But that's what you did that's what you did with the first offering of Hall of Flowers to where it was last year. I mean, to go from I think it was the first pavilion to 4 different buildings with a giant outdoor space. And I think, if correct me if I'm wrong, the last edition was only the 4th edition, right? And you had actually segregated days.
I think only the third one.
Okay. So I mean,
we did 3 shows total. It exploded right away. Dude, Danny,
unbelievable.
Our partner, is like a master. He's like one of the biggest experts in the world of trade shows. He runs like the tightest fucking team and ship. My partner Aaron Levant in the show did Complex Con and Agenda, and I kind of grew up at his shows. I owned a trade show that was very successful, and my trade show is like a little teeny like pimple on the mass of what Danny and Aaron both created separately, and then they joined their shows together in Vegas to create a huge event called Modern Assembly, which was half of the fashion industry every 6 months. So Hall of Flowers is like the smallest thing. I mean, they had 30,000 attendees at their shows. So we're just getting started. Is my point.
Yeah, and I think this year, or fingers crossed this year, you're branching off from Santa Rosa to include Palm Springs.
Yeah,
right?
Palm Springs will be the next one. Yeah, right down the street. I can ride my bicycle.
Oh, man,
so you're actually in Palm Springs now? That's where you're holed up?
Yeah.
Oh,
so you asked how the last year was. So I was staying in a place that my landlord was calling Beverly Hills, basically, and I was there for like 5 years, and then and I'm a workaholic, right? So like I said, so I wake up in the morning, I leave immediately. First thing, I go to the office. I'm there all day, most of the night. I come back, watch like some kind of Netflix movie with people securing the perimeter kind of thing, to forget about, turn my brain off for a couple hours, and then I go do it all over again. Now with the office being closed, pandemic happening, I was going like, I didn't even have an office at my house. So I have this fantasy. I was like, it's March. This is now August. I have this fantasy. I'm like, maybe I'll go to Palm Springs and rent a house in Palm Springs. I'm obsessed with mid-century modern architecture. I want to build like a case study house one day. If you know what a case study house is, Charles and Ray Eames, Richard Neutra, these are like my heroes. And I go online and I start looking, and the first house that pops up is the fucking most beautiful, amazing mid-century modern house. It's called an Alexander home, very famous here in Palm Springs, very classic. And I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at the photos, and I get to the last photo out of like 20, and I'm like, this barbecue is so specific. This is weird. I think this is my friend's house. So I call my friend Jan, and I say, hey, Jan, are you renting your house? She's like, I just put it up online 2 hours ago. I was like, holy shit, it's meant to be. I stayed here for holiday. I've been here 20 times. I love the neighborhood, the area. I know everything. They know me. They love me. I'm an investor in her daughter's business, and who's a great friend of mine, and it was crazy. So it was meant to be, and they were like, please take the place. So I moved out here in August. I've been here by myself since then. In August, it was like Chronicles of Riddick out here. It was like 130 degrees. Like I felt like I was living on Mars. Like I thought Musk was going to roll by on the fucking thing or whatever. It was so hot. But now I see why like rich ass people move out here, because it's fucking perfect.
My wife's favorite place in California, and even the drive from LA to Palm Springs is unbelievable, through the windmills and the wind chime.
It's 2 hours. Yeah, if it's 2 hours, jump on the 10. It's a straight shot back. So, and I haven't gone back. There's nothing I've had to do. Everything's happening this way now.
I actually DJ'd in Palm Springs like 3 or 4 times at the Saguaro Hotel.
Oh, amazing!
Pool parties. Yeah.
Yep.
Good
Yep.
times.
Yeah, and that whole scene's big here. I didn't even think of that. Like even the
Yeah.
Ace and all those
The
places.
Ace,
Like
beautiful. Yeah. So
yeah,
nice.
those will become like cool when you can go out. But I'm here. I'm just cooking food, and then I have extra rooms and extra space here. So and a big ass backyard area. So I tricked it all out here and made the backyard amazing. And I'm having people come out from LA to stay for like an hour or two, and we sit in the backyard, 15 feet apart in the sun or whatever, and we can jam for a couple hours. Or like my partner Gary Vaynerchuck, like 2 people from his team came out and stayed with me for 2 weeks, so we're doing that too, and this has become like the headquarters until we can get COVID out of LA, and then we'll be opening our building, the Green Street building, which I've been working on for 3 years, so
30 years. And I wanted to, it
years.
was good that you interjected into that. So maybe you could just tell a little bit about the 70,000 square foot campus, what is going to be the epicenter of not only California, but arguably, again, the best brands, the best flower comes out of California. So it is the epicenter of North American cannabis. So, tell us a little bit about the progress and when the ribbon's going to be cut.
Yeah. The ribbon, we'll see what that it's like, could be, a year or whatever, maybe. I think Hallflowers happens in the fall. So I think everything happens in the fall. I think we'll get the building open by then, but, or hopefully sooner, maybe summer. But, so essentially, from the very beginning of Green Street, which has been 8 years, and then 2 years doing, when we did G Pen, but we were also doing Beats by Dre and Disney and DreamWorks. So, for 10 years, in marketing. And then before that, even in fashion. And then before that, even in music, I've had what you'd call a showroom. And alongside the agency with Green Street, we had a showroom simultaneously. So yes, it's agency work, but it's really just a build out or a little space for a brand to tell a story from, or a dispensary to see maybe what it looks like in their shop, kind of thing, And the showroom in fashion, you have a showroom, then you have the trade shows. The showroom you are in all year. Trade shows happen a couple times a year. So that's really like been our business, right? Like Hall of Flowers kind of evolved out of like the showroom kind of brands and whatnot. So, and then we got to the point with the showroom where I was producing a few events a month, and brands were also producing their own events, but we had 5 floors in a building that we were renting. And my landlord, who's a total scumbag, like slumlord kind of scumbag guy, literally one day I'm sitting at the office and I get a letter delivered, like whatever, signed for, like you've been served kind of thing. And it's a registered letter, emergency ending our lease on all 5 floors of the building. And this is like a building that we had on Wilshire. We had a ton of brands there, tons of parties, Magic Hour, all these things. We've done tons of stuff there. And the letter's like, I'm reading it through, and my partner Josh is an attorney, and he wasn't there that day. So I take some photos of the letter and send it to him, and I'm reading it, and it basically says something like, he felt uncomfortable and like some like weird stuff, like not we threatened him, but kind of like along that vibe, like we put him in an uncomfortable situation or something like vague. So we sit with him, and we're talking, and it's 10 minutes in, and we say, so what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. And, we're like, is this just, and then he says something, and we're like, Josh goes, oh, okay, this is about money. And he's like, well, it's not just about money. And we were like, okay, well, what else is it about? Nothing, right? It's about money. So he literally, this guy squeezes us down. And in that meeting, our rent went up 40%, right? Which is a lot of money, all right? So I had events going on. I have shit going in there. I have people that have booked it. I'm signing like 6-month leases in the showroom. I can't not have the space next week, can't get locked out, and then I put me out of business. So this guy knows that. This guy is a scumbag. Then I see him on camera, literally on camera. I put cameras in there because I'm getting nervous because he's being weird. I get him on camera going up to the brands in the showroom at events, telling them that I'm leaving and he's keeping the space going. And if they want to continue renting from him, they can't. Okay, because we were making a lot of money because it's a sublease. We rent the floor and set it up, but then we have staff and events and insurance. It's like it's a business, So it's like it's WeWork style, but it's but you can't do much in marketing. So if I do events, it's like the only thing that these brands can even have going on, and obviously experience is the best anyways. Word of mouth, social influencers, blah blah, whatever. So Scumbag does this. I tell this story that I just told you guys and now the world to a guy that I'm at, and this is just an ad for the Soho House, basically. A dude I met at the Soho House in Malibu. Okay, and that's not really my world, but I kind of like that world a little bit, like Billionaire Beach and everything like that. I grew up in the music industry, so I understand the importance of that little strip in Malibu. And I'm there with my chef friend, Chef Mags, Mike Magliano, incredible chef, and he's talking to some other rich guy there. And it was one of the things where, like, the rich guy's friend and me, the 2+1s, if you will, were just like, oh, our friends were talking to each other, and we were like, hey man, and then that's it. And then they're still talking. Oh, what's your name? Okay, cool. They're still talking, and we're like, dude, please stop talking because I don't want to talk to the stranger anymore, kind of thing, like how this always is. And a few minutes into it, oh, music. I did a record label from Boston. Oh, he went to college in Boston. He has a record label too. He loves music. Loves jazz. I put out a jazz band. I sent him. So, what are you up to? Oh, I just do weed stuff. Oh my God, I love weed. Come by and smoke a joint. So he comes to the building, and we're sitting on the roof, and I'm explaining to him what the scumbag just did to us, and he literally is like, "I'll recreate it because I have a joint so manageable here." His name is Aaron, and he's amazing. He's our partner, And Aaron, he just someone I had met then, and he's like, bro, you should just buy a building. And I was like, well, yeah, I can't buy a building. It's like, our building we were in was for sale for $90 million. We had 5 floors of it out of the 12 or whatever. A building is tens of millions of dollars in LA, And he's like, dude, it's so easy to buy a building. And I was like, dude, what? And again, like, I don't know this guy, whatever, turns out his family is a very successful business. He's CEO of it. He knows how to do some stuff. And it was the easiest thing we've ever done.
It's like, bro, let me buy you a building.
Yeah, literally. He's like, dude, if you're renting the whole thing, people will beg to have you in the space. And I was like, well, listen, fuck all these fake investor people. Fuck all these, like, publicly traded people. Like, I don't trust any of those people. I'm so sick of wasting my time there. After 20 meetings with fake money people, I was like so over it, and this is 3 years ago. Maybe it got better. We'll see. I still say no to everybody, but I was like, listen, if we're going to do this, I make the rules. And it was kind of like, getting into a relationship where I was like, it has to be that. Like, I had a prenup. I was like, we need to control it. We need to do this. We need to name it. I was like, I'm not going to waste any seconds of time unless it's like really what I want at the end of it. And they were like, okay. And it happened, and we bought the building, and then I started filling it up, and they're like, dude, how are you doing this? Like, what the fuck? They're blown away that I'm getting people to sign into the building. I'm signing people up right now. I'm having people signing leases today, and there's not even a date on them to open yet. And that's how desirable and exciting the space is. I got a restaurant in the building that is one of the top restaurateurs in the world. The Gusto, group from Toronto. Oh, nice. This is going to be their second restaurant in America. They have one restaurant in America called Felix. It's a James Beard fucking Michelin star. Like, you can't even eat there unless you're a fucking Gwyneth Paltrow restaurant. And this is their next space. I would take Taco Bell. You know what I mean? And now we have like a fucking award-winning restaurant, in the building, and it's all cannabis inspired. So, we bought a building. It's 9 stories. It's a basement to be determined. I'd like to put like a little arcade down there right now, touching buttons that other people touch. Doesn't sound like very desirable, but I'd like to do a little arcade down there. Our building was featured in the movie Terminator. If you remember Terminator, there's a scene in the first one where she's running. Sarah Connors is running away from who she thinks is the bad guy, and she goes into like a discotheque. It's called Tech Noir, and it's all 80s, and there's like people dancing around inside and stuff. And then that's where they first meet the Terminator. Arnold gets blown out the front window. He lands. Yeah. So I'm watching I'm watching it, and I'm like, that's my fucking building. So I'm like screenshotting, and oh my God, my hero, Terminator, grew up on it. So the ground floor, I want to be tech noir and have it be an arcade. So I want to bring back the Terminator thing, right? We'll see if that happens. First floor, official restaurant, 250-seat restaurant from the Gusto Group. It's called Gusto Green. It's a $5 million build out. It's going to be fucking stunning. It's all dedicated to cannabis. They can't sell weed there yet, but it's all celebrating the plant. You'll see what I'm talking about later. Second floor is an art gallery / retail area. From the first floor, they built a greenhouse in the first floor that punches up through the second floor, like a huge glass structure comes up see-through. So when you're down eating, you can look up into the retail art gallery, and if you're in the art gallery, you can look down into the restaurant. So they're connected. So art gallery space, and it's 2 floors of co-working. So 28 brands sharing 2 floors, just suites, no individual hot desks, just like executive corporate offices. And these are some of the biggest brands in cannabis, from publicly traded Canadian companies down to, the coolest weed brands, High Rise and whatever else are in there, like for their LA office space, if you will, sales office, distribution, things like this,
We have some space left, so we're looking for some kind of bigger brands to come in there and take, 2 or 3 brands sharing a floor kind of thing. And then we have a showroom space, and the showroom space is 7,000 square feet. It has beautiful white gallery floors, has 15-foot ceilings, skylights. It's going to be the craziest space, ever for retail and brands. There'll be 15 brands or so that could be up there, and that will be events every couple of days, And then the rooftop is a fully functional rooftop. We have the restaurant group that we partnered with them on this space, and it's going to be the number one cannabis event consumption, venue in the city. It's 200 legal capacity. It's 6,000 square feet up there. We put in bathrooms. We put in a whole kitchen area. We have private dining rooms, and the rooftop can be cut up or used as bigger spaces. So there's projection screens like for movie night. There's stages for band performances. There's different levels of area. There's multiple bars for activations. But it's it will be the number one event space for cannabis in I think in the world. And then underneath just the event space, then there's 50 or so brands, probably more like 60 plus brands, besides with the retail and everything all that happens, and all under one roof. So when you have 50 companies all with the same address, it's an
ecosystem. Throw a couple of lawyers in there, compliance people, and go to market.
So
And you're right down downtown LA, right? I'm just looking at the image here, so it's right next to the freehand, next to everything. Right. So it's right there in the hotspot. I like it.
And I remember seeing the renderings back in 2018 when I was working for the compliance company. We were even talks about taking a spot because it's when you're able to create something like that, and what you do really well, Rama, and you have a track record is. This space is very dictated by law of attraction. So if you put enough good energy, and it boils down to the granular stuff about the house in Palm Springs, manifesting that house in Palm Springs, right? You've manifested this idea for a building that has turned into a conception from an idea, and people are gravitating to it.
I had a space like this. I can send you the article. Actually, I have some photos of it. But I had a space in Boston in the music industry called Inatech. You've seen the movie Office Space?
Of course.
So this is 2000, and it was on the cover of the Boston Globe, the big Boston newspaper. I was on the cover with the whole company, and it was a music version of this. I had 3 record labels, 2 booking agencies, a PR person, a recording studio, all sharing one roof. So it's the exact same idea. I'm just getting better at it and better at it and better at it,
Yeah. So yeah, amazing. I'd love to be able to post any type of link in the description. Get anybody who's interested in being at the center of cannabis in California.
It's 718 the numbers southhill.com. 718 South Hill. You guys can check that
amazing.
Out. We'll neighbors, and you said it's the freehand. It's Shake Shack on the corner. It's Whole Foods. still smells like piss because it's downtown LA and it just smells like pee everywhere. But it's like safe and easy and nice, and you can have like, you know, it's the nice area of downtown if there is one, you know.
Yeah. So again, just some of the stuff that we'll let you get out of here. We're going to get into one of our closing segments, which is what we call the 4x420. But before that, so again, Hallowflowers definitely on track to take place this fall. The Green Street building on the cusp of opening again once the regulations and everything. I mean, COVID disappears a little bit more. Full ramp up. garyvee still fully involved from an investor standpoint, and in terms of like his team, I think it was Joe and those guys that had come in from New York. They're still like working with you guys up in LA.
No, Joe's not. Joe went on to work for someone awesome. I forget what it is. It's like something. It's more deep than like weed marketing, you know. It's not like the healthcare association, but it's something like that. He went on to do something good. No, it's really, honestly, what happened is this is crazy, right? So I'm sitting. Gary has an office for Vayner in LA, and I go there when he's in town. I go there and sit there like a fucking puppy waiting for the master, and I sit outside his office. And when people come in, I work on my laptop, and then the second they leave, I pop in for the 60 seconds or 6 minutes until the next meeting comes in, you know, and we work all day on that. And he'll be like, work on this, and then an hour later I'll come back in. Here's the deal, and like, you know, and we kill it like that. So I was doing that, and I'm getting into IP, less client, and he goes, Rama, do we even want clients? And I was like, whoa, is this a trick question? Of course, the agency doesn't want clients, but that's the entire business model. So tell me something I'm not seeing here. And he's like, dude, we should just build IP. He's like, well, you have so many ideas, so much opportunity. Hallowflowers is a monster. We can do a bunch of other stuff. We want to do a consumer event. We want to do a media play. We want to do dozens of brands in the space. We want to do other cool little pieces of platform, tech stuff, app stuff. You know, he's like, we should just consult and get like, you know, a big corporate company, a Taco Bell, which is what I always say, you know, as a retainer, and then get maybe one weed brand as a retainer, but then just like build stuff. You know, and that's what I'd rather do anyways.
And then license the IP?
It depends. You know, I mean, dude, he co-founded Rezi. He's like on Venmo. He's a part of Coinbase. Like, you know, I mean, it's like the sky's the limit with what we could build with him, you know. So we're not there yet, right, in the industry, but it'll get there. So when he said, do we want clients? I was like, no. And again, I feel like I was treading water, right? I'm making millions, but it's costing me millions. And that only matters if you want the valuation, you want to get acquired, you want to build a big thing. That's what you do. But I don't want to build a big thing. I want to have an elite force. I want to be able to be creative. You know, I don't want to run a company all day long. That's boring. You know, so when he did that, we talked to Joe, and we had some clients that this is why it's crazy. We had contract. This was in January. We had contracts ending in March. We told the clients, hey, we're not going to renew. They were like, what do you mean? And we're like, yeah, we're good. They were like, well, what are you talking about? You're picking up with us? This doesn't happen, you know? And then we told the staff, hey, guys, like not all of them. I kept some of them, but I was like, hey, you know, Joe and stuff, you know, Joe, you should go find your dream job. You know what I mean? You know, Joe changed as a human completely when he moved out here, like in the best way ever. He evolved so much, and he's not a weak guy. You know what I mean? And his skills, we couldn't even take advantage of them, you know? So, but everyone's awesome there, and Gary's more involved than ever, dude. It's so crazy. He texted me this morning. He woke me up at 6 with like 5 things, and I'm like, I just can't believe that he likes me so much and the industry so much, and he just believes that I'm the one, you know, to help him figure it out. You know, it's just so.
But he has a history of and like I've been into him probably from the incept of finding you, but he has that history the same as you, as being at the right place at the right time, pulling all the greatest parts from other industries to add to cannabis, because for you it's your passion, and it's interesting to see how he's evolved over this pandemic. Right, this was a guy that was getting on 16 flights a week, and to like again especially in cannabis, the next 2 years are so important, and it's the ones that have been able to pivot and operate in this pandemic space and have these relationships. And I don't want to end this cast without you talking about Wonder Bread. And if you could just talk a little bit about this brand that has really caught a lot of people by storm in California. I know from the people that I've been talking to, just the packaging alone has been making waves up here in Canada. The designs are beautiful. It's as close to cookies that I can see.
Yeah, it's more sophisticated cookies for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I love that you asked about that. Out of the one brand, something I'm not even involved with, so I love it. But yeah, Brett's a very, very good. It's a team, but they're very good friends, you know. And Brett specifically, you know, we helped Brett in the beginning, maybe I don't know, 5 years ago, with his investment deck. You know, he already had the packaging going. He was fighting to even get people to sell it that way, because at that time California was just jars, and you'd pick the jar and they'd go like, you know, like scoop it like, you know, whatever, you know, fucking like Whole Foods granola into a bag. and Brett was the one fighting to sell it in a box, sell it in a box, sell it in a box. And I think the fact that we believed in that and knew that was a no-brainer, of course this is how everyone's going to be. And he was probably like hitting his head against the wall trying to get people just to even like understand why he's doing it. But we were like, obviously, you're the best. This is, of course. And he was like, oh my God, people think like I do, you know? So he was part of the original, like, you know, team. He for sure was a big supporter of everything we've ever done. Always the events, always the stuff. But, you know, he, yeah, and they're just awesome guys. But you know, they just work hard. Like, no matter what they do, they're still just here to put up the work. Like, he would never call himself a serial entrepreneur. He'd be like, I'm a farmer or something. He'd like go the opposite. I call myself a janitor. He would kind of do the same thing, even though he knows he's the badass. He's still humble as the artist side, and yeah, and they're gonna open their own shops here. Yeah, they're one of the few that I think can really make it. And we did their investment deck a couple of years ago, and that's what they used to raise their funds and get their partners on and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, really, really nice to see guys like that. Yeah, I'm definitely going to reach out to him. And again, another big brand, the juicyJ Asterisk, which you are more than I guess involved
Asterisk,
in.
I came up with the concept of Asterisk when Barry Bonds went into the Hall of Fame, and Mark Ecko bought the ball. He bought the home run and put it in the Hall of Fame. And he said it has to have an asterisk next to it to say that it, like, you know, because of the steroids thing, you know? So I've been wanting to, and then I love the underdog, right? So I've had the URL Asterisk Agency for maybe like 15 years or since that happened, with the idea that I can rehabilitate people that are like terrible, right? Like, everyone has a second chance. Like, we love the underdog, right? So Asterisk started there, and then it finally came into fruition in this form of the brand instead. I was like thinking about it, and you know, it kind of evolved to, I still want to do the agency one day, but obviously I'm busy. But you know, the idea of like this unknown, or this, like, you know, like, what's two things, right? Asterisk to me is brilliant because it's on everyone's phone, right? It's here on everyone's phone already, but no one really owns it, right? And therefore it's built into your world, your life, right? But it also was an ice carving a cave painting back in the Ice Age. You know, so this 30,000-year-old symbol still exists today, right? And to me, that's where I saw the power in it, you know, and the idea of bringing people together. But yeah, the goal for Asterisk is like, for lack of a better description, it's like the Avengers for weed. You know, I'm bringing together a bunch of super complimentary, you know, entrepreneurs. You know, they're celebrities, probably most of them, but they're more entrepreneurs, you know, creatives. And the dream is to build like a super eclectic, complementary, you know, ecosystem, basically, where I have the content creators and the celebrities and the marketers and everybody like that, and they all have ownership in the project. You know, so instead of a celebrity brand built around one celebrity, which is what all of them are, this was a celebrity brand built around, you know, a handful, a collective of celebrities, and we'll be able to grow it. Like, we have right now 5 new people that we're negotiating to bring on, staggered, you know. So, but it will be 10, 20 people eventually. We'll just keep growing and growing. So that's the idea.
Like a collaboration at its core,
right? Almost, but it's just an evolved version of the other ones we've done. We've done a bunch of the celebrity deals, so now it's like, well, how can you make it better? Because the celebrities are kind of like a glass ceiling, you know, which is fine because it's 8 million people or 20 million people. So fuck yeah, let's go. But with Asterisk now, it's, you know, Asterisk has a combined media reach bigger than any cannabis or mainstream publication in the world.
Crazy.
You know?
Yeah.
Strength
in numbers. Strength in
any cannabis, maybe the network is 2 million people. Gary has 8 million on Instagram alone. Juicy has that on Instagram alone, you know? So like together, it's like between them, it's like, plus you throw our 10,000 people on, dude, right? You know, just kidding. You know? But yeah, that's the idea. It's like the reach, you know, and then make it eclectic. And so it's not the same overlap and whatever, you know, so.
Yeah, the merch store is nuts.
Yeah. Okay, so yes. I love that you brought it up. So let's give a shout out to Cody Hudson. Cody Hudson is the designer. He is an old friend, or not old friend, but, you know, past maybe 10 years or so. And I'm a huge fan, huge Cody Hudson fan. I have a whole room of his art over here. And he's been wanting to do weed stuff, and I can't afford him. He's very, very expensive. He does head-to-toe Nike collections. He has sneakers, jackets, pants, everything, like full collections with Nike, you know, and tons of other art, tons of other companies as well. But beyond that, and it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. He's a Ferrari, you know. And I went to him and I said, listen, you know, why don't you come in and have equity in the brand? He has a restaurant group in Chicago. They have 500 employees over like 6 restaurant concepts, and he's the creative director for them. So he was like, just like my restaurant group, I could see being creative director of a cannabis brand, but he does. So that's why the merch is sick and the story's sick, the packaging is sick, is because he does all that. And that's the only way it works, is that he's just as proud as Juicy, as Gary's wearing the merch all the time now. And, you know, people call themselves a lifestyle brand in cannabis just because they make a hoodie. Or right, you know what I mean? They all think they fancy themselves lifestyle brand, and like we're truly doing it by the people that are doing it for the biggest ones out there, you know. So a lot of people.
Yeah, no, and again, it's a fucking testament to your track record and
allegedly, and you saw the email, so you didn't think I'm lying to you.
Yeah.
Allegedly, it got returned because of no phone number. I don't know if that's true. Maybe Canada's strict, but you do have a sweatshirt coming up. Michael, and anything you want in there, Mateo, anything you want in the store, let me know. I'll send you guys whatever. But yeah, the merch is sick. It's fucking, like, people are buying it. It's like working. Yeah.
So fucking amazing stuff. We'll let you get out of here with the 4x4 20 questions. So really, really simple. It's something that we do to let our guests get out of here with a little bit more of a personal connection to the people that are watching this. So it's 4 questions with 4 answers in 20 seconds.
Oh, fuck.
No, it's an imaginary clock, but we'll start with this one. Rama, name your 4 favorite strains.
Oh man, I'm just gonna say anything by Wonder Bread, anything by Cannabis Brothers, anything by the Originals. Who else are growing the best weed right now?
What'd you just smoke?
This is Farm 2 Lab, Fendi. I don't know this brand too well. I met them recently. Right. This weed's amazing. I'm kind of limited out here in Palm Springs with what I can get, but not complaining. This is amazing. And I would say, like, what I really love, just, you know, to get more specific on the last one, because those are just like marketing guy answers or whatever. I'd say, like, I love like the taste and the tongue and like the heaviness, but flavor of like the gelatos in that world. You know what I mean? So, like,
that's exactly what we're looking for. Shout out Cannabis Brothers.
Yeah, I
amazing.
Sherbinsky then, just out of respect, because he created that, you know. So, but that world, I love. What I love, this is what strains I love. The biggest baseball bat indica you could possibly hit me in the head with, and I hit it, and I'm this much energy, and I've been smoking since 6 a.m. all day long till now, and I'm still like and and I do no coffee, and I'm just indica flower. So, yeah. So any indicas by those brands, I'd say.
Mateo's been working with me for a bit, so he kind of understands that, you know, sometimes I have like ringing in my ears. You've got to bring it down. So yeah, I can empathize with that. 4 people you'd love to have a session with. 4 individual people.
Bill Murray. 4 people that they have to be living, or can it be any?
No, anyone or future.
I'll try.
Your little Rama Mayo running around now.
Okay, 4 of all time. Okay, Lou Wasserman, Bill Murray, Andre the Giant,
Bill Murray.
Keanu Reeves. I guess, I don't know.
Nice. All right, fucking Andre the Giant. King Kong. I have a picture of me circulating somewhere with Andre Giant and King Kong Bundy in Wildwood, New Jersey.
Dude. Yes, dude.
Yeah,
I
man.
painted a ton of wrestlers over COVID. I painted a ton.
Yeah. For your favorite places on Earth, they could be your bed or like Palm Springs.
Shep Gordon's house balcony, for sure. Number one, at the guest house. I don't want to say Hawaii again, but basically anywhere in Hawaii besides that. Barcelona's fucking insane. I love the beach, Malibu, whatever. I'll say Cape Cod, I'm a fan of. I'm not saying 4 things. And then I do get this overwhelming excitement when I crawl into bed, regardless of what time it is. I get this like overwhelming, like you made it through the war today kind of feeling. So that is nice.
Yeah, nice. And the toughest thing, but 4 things that you want your legacy to be known for.
Helping.
Gary talks about
legacy, like helping people. I guess like just like being positive. Legacy to be known for. I don't know, leaving, as a better place, which is basically helping people kind of thing, I can't think 4 things I want to be known for. I've never thought that far ahead. I mean, being funny, being awesome or something like that,
That's amazing. Yeah. Fucking top notch. Again, with that, we'll let Rama get back to painting Hulk Hogan, maybe Coco Beware, God knows, maybe the Ultimate Warrior. Really want to thank you, Rama. We'll put the links to the building that's under construction with very limited space left. We'll put a link to the merch shop. Shout out to everybody that's working with Rama. Shout out to garyvaynerchuck. Shout out to Green Street. Hallofflowers coming up in Palm Springs this fall. We will will it to happen. And anything else you want to let us know about, Rama? The floor is yours before we let you go.
September 22nd, 23rd in Santa Rosa, and then December 8th and 9th down here in Palm Springs. So 10 weeks apart from one another. And then we have a couple digital ones. Amazing. And then I'm launching some new brands. Vacation just is going now. I'd love anyone's input on Vacation. It's in California, but we think it's super fun brand. I have some really incredible partnerships that I'm doing with it. And then, anyone that wants to jam on anything, like, dude, like let's work, let's build it,
And you could definitely find Rama on Clubhouse, fucking kicking it in those rooms. And Thursdays at 8 Eastern is Magic Hour,
I have
right?
a talk show. So I have a talk show on. That's what I was doing right before I joined this. I'm writing the episode for Thursday, but every Thursday, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Pacific time. It's called Magic Hour. It's basically the party we were doing for years in LA at our building, and we'll continue to do it at the new building, but I'm bringing it on a Clubhouse for now because I miss my friends. And then for anyone that can't do Thursday nights, we just announced Friday mornings, donuts and pizza.
Brunch.
And industry brunch. And donuts, Thursday nights, like a format, like I'm writing everything. It's guests every 20 minutes. I bring a new guest on from non-cannabis to help cannabis people. But Friday mornings is just like a cannabis industry jam. Any like legit operators or owners can come up and it's kind of what Clubhouse is happening a little more on now. But I've done 2, which James from Apothecana, honestly, he's been doing it, and which I love. He's like my favorite. And he asked me to co-host, and we did 2, and then with no name. And I've wanted to do this event called Donuts and Pizza because I think it's hilarious, and do it eventually where I can have donuts and pizza there. And I was like, hey, can we call the thing that you did this new name? And he said yes. So, so Thursday nights on Clubhouse. And I have like an Instagram, Green Street on Instagram, and my name, and blah, 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 blah.